Hello, Stitchy friends. How's everybody doing? Today is Tuesday, April 21st, 2026, and I am so glad to be back with you today. I hope you've had a wonderful week. I hope you've had a lot of stitching in. I know some of you have had spring weather, but some of you have had snow. I've seen that on Instagram a lot, that a lot of fellow stitchers were having snow the past couple of days or weeks, and that is crazy. As you can see, I'm here in my sweater today because it was 35 degrees when I went for my run this morning. Very chilly, especially coming back from Florida. That is quite brutal to feel that again. But I made it through. I did 5 miles this morning, and even Winston went for his walk this morning. So we've been outside in the cold and we're making it through, but it is definitely a sweater day here in New York. My name is Andrew, this is my dog Winston, and you are here at The Runner Stitcher. This is my channel where I talk primarily about my cross-stitch journey, a little bit about running, and also about what else I'm doing in life. So welcome. If you are new here, thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate it. I'm so happy that you're all here and that we can share in this hobby together. And I hope you'll stick around to see what projects I get up to and what new things are coming in the future. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. Your time with me means everything. That's why I keep filming these, is to spend time with you and chat with you. So thank you so much for coming back and hearing what I'm up to this week. I think today we'll just sort of jump right into things. So I wanted to first off say a big thank you to Julie, who took advantage of the Buy Me a Coffee link below. Julie, thank you very much for that kind gift. I really appreciate it, and I just wanted to say thank you for that. I also wanted to mention, for the past 2 weeks, I've kind of highlighted a pattern from Needle-Lot Designs, from Iris, the designer of Needle-Lot Designs. I did a flip through of her fantasy cross-stitch book a couple of videos back, so if you haven't seen that yet and you're curious what's in the book, definitely go check that out. But I've also decided I was going to highlight a few of her other patterns the rest of this month, just to kind of show her wide range of style, that she's not just capable of doing fantasy cross-stitch. And so today I couldn't just pick one. So I picked 2 patterns that I was a fan of from her Etsy shop. And they're both more on the humorous, funny, whimsical side of patterns. And I thought that would show a different kind of style and design that I haven't shown yet from her, but she's also really good at doing. So the first one we've got here is Capybara Tea Time. And I just think this is so cute. This little capybara is just sitting in his nice warm tea bath, and it just looks adorable. I've never seen a pattern like this before, where they're sitting actually in the tea with the tea steaming away. It's like a little spa or sauna for the animal, and I just think it's super cute. It's one that, maybe someday I would love to stitch, but very cute pattern. The other one is called Trashing Through the Snow, and this one is hilarious because you've got a raccoon and a possum kind of making their way through the snow. Instead of like walking in a winter wonderland, they're like trashing in the snow. So those are the 2 patterns I wanted to share from Needle-Lot Designs. Definitely go check out her Etsy shop. She has a lot of wonderful patterns. She's a really talented designer, and we always love to support our designers, right? They're the ones that make these beautiful cross-stitch patterns for us to enjoy. And so I just wanted to highlight just a couple of other patterns from her outside of that book. So I hope you enjoyed that. I also wanted to start off today by sharing a couple of the finishes that we've had lately on my Patreon channel. I will be popping pictures up here for you to see. These are projects that some people have been posting in Patreon along the way, and so we've seen their journey grow into a finish, and some of them were ones that were already started and they finally got finished. It's just exciting to see, and there's so many beautiful projects happening in Patreon that it's just fun to share together in that congratulations and in that triumph of finally getting a finish. And so the first one I want to share with you is Lady of Mystery. This is a Mirabilia pattern, and this is something that Mesa stitched, and it looks beautiful. This is a pattern that always stuck out to me just with the tones of the red and the black, and she did such a beautiful job on this. The next one I want to share, I don't actually know the pattern name or designer, but this is from Angela, and she stitched this cute pattern with skunks in it. And we all said in the Patreon that it was just so stinking cute, as you could understand why. But just such a lovely pattern. The next one I wanted to highlight was a Mill Hill kit, and this is called Mason Jar. This is something that my Linda stitched, and I love Mill Hill kits, so they always have a special place in my heart, but this one is super cute, lovely finish. And the final one I wanted to share is from Liz. This is called Sampler of the Sea, and it's from Carriage House Samplings. And it's just this beautiful sea-themed or nautical-themed alphabet, and I think she did a wonderful job stitching it, and so I wanted to share that with you all. We've been having so much fun in Patreon just seeing the progress. We had our monthly stitching Zoom this past weekend, and that was a lot of fun. We got to just share together and reconnect, and that's always a good time. So yeah, just wanted to kind of share all of that with you. And if you're interested in Patreon, definitely come over and check out what we're up to and see if it might be something for you to join that community over there. Okay, and I think those were all sort of the housekeeping things at the beginning here that I wanted to share with you all. I hope you enjoyed that. Next thing I wanted to talk about was Whip into Shape, and we are back at it now. Now that I'm back in New York and settled in, you may have noticed I posted my first walk on my other YouTube channel, which is called Andrew in Stride. I will link that channel down below so you can go check that out if you're interested. I think we're getting very close to 800 subscribers, which is amazing to me. That's so awesome. And hopefully we'll continue growing that and building that. But I posted my first walk from New York, and it was a walk I did through Central Park. And it was so much fun. I had a great time filming that walk, and I was really happy with how it turned out. I actually watched it back myself while I was stitching and really enjoyed it myself, even though I was the one that walked through it. So just had a really good time with that one, and I hope you will enjoy it as well. And the Whip into Shape challenge, if you're not familiar with it, is a challenge that I created for you to stitch along with these walks that I'm recording for you. And you can stitch along with the time that I'm walking. You can stitch along for a certain amount of stitches for the miles that I'm walking, or you can stitch for a certain number of stitches for each step I take, so I list the total steps. There's a spreadsheet linked below in the description, and that will give you all the details of what you need to stitch. And if you didn't catch the first part of this while I was doing these videos in Florida, now would be a great time to just jump in. You can start with the New York videos and kind of pick it up from there. So if you're interested, definitely check that out. But the walk that I posted this week in Central Park, that walk amounted to 196 stitches if you were stitching for the miles. So that's what I needed to put into my piece, and I was happy to get that work in and happy to pull out the piece I chose for it. And the piece I'm referring to that I chose for my Whip into Shape piece is this one right here. This is Elizabeth Masterton 1838. It's this beautiful piece with not such a great picture, but you'll see where I'm at soon. And the colors in this are just amazing. So I'll also pop a picture up here of where I was when I started the entire challenge. So at the very beginning of the challenge, from where we were at in Florida to now, and now you'll be able to see how many stitches I've actually put into this piece and how it's grown. So this week I don't have an exact stitch count of what I added into it, but I know it was at least 306 stitches. I think it was probably even more than that because I just ended up working on it. I was stitching on it on a Zoom call yesterday afternoon, and then I just continued working on it the rest of the evening. And so I did make some good progress. But here is where I'm at so far on Elizabeth Masterton, 1838. This is stitched on a 40 count linen called Paper Bark by Fox and Rabbit. And I'm using all the called for silks, which are Averswa silks. And I'm stitching one strand of silk over 2 linen threads, and really just loving how that is looking and how that coverage is showing up. So let's zoom in a little bit and see what I did. Basically, I worked in this section over here, and I added in all of these little buds on the flowers of the border. So now this border is completed all the way over to the end here. Before I think there was maybe 4 or 5 of these that were not filled in. So that is completed. And then I wanted to do something a little different than border. And so I jumped in here and started working on this flower right here. Now this flower is going to mimic this one. So on either side here, it's the exact same sort of setup. And so this one will eventually look like this. But I got a pretty decent start on it and happy with how that is looking and coming along. And happy with the border too, to add some more into that. So here is the piece as a whole so far, what I've got done. It is a very large piece. There's a lot of stitching that goes into this one, but I really, really am enjoying it, especially now that I'm getting some of those flowers in, getting past the border, and yeah, just seeing little progress little by little. Each little stitch counts, and we'll get there eventually. But that is Elizabeth Masterton. All right, and now let's get into the rest of my whips. So we'll start with the temperature stitching whips, and this week that was Woodland Enchantress. It was called for 2 days or 200 stitches. I managed to put in 270 stitches, and those were all full cross stitches. So I'm now at 53.79% on this piece. I will pop a little video in of where I was when I started the week. Here's my starting point for Woodland Enchantress. As you can see, my thread is right in here, so that's probably where I'm going to start and just kind of bring these sections down. Only 200 stitches this time, so we'll get a little bit more progress, but here she is. And I forgot to even show you what she's going to look like, but now that you saw that video, you probably have a good idea. But this is Woodland Enchantress, a kit from Dimensions, and I'm using all the kit materials, kit, fabric, floss, everything. So you saw where I was last week, and this week, I decided to work more in her dress. So here is where she's at now. Sorry for this being so not ironed and wrinkly. It just is what it is. But I worked a little bit over here, bringing this sort of gold section of her dress down. I worked, I think, a little bit in the greens, filling in a little bit more on that section. And I think I even worked a little bit in the blues right here, that one color of blue, bringing it down. But mostly was this section right here to kind of bring that further, and the greens. So that was 270 stitches. She's looking really, really great. I'm trying to flatten her out to show you the whole thing, but she really is looking great. The more I see this section right here in camera, the more I just love those swirls in the snow. It really gives movement and dimension to the piece, and I just love it. Yeah, the more you pull it back, the more you see the swirls sort of happening. So this is a big, big kit, and I will keep working on her, but really, really happy to have crossed the 50% mark on all that stitching. And of course, it doesn't include all the back stitching. I thought maybe I would get more into the back stitching here in her hair to kind of complete that, but I didn't get to that this week, and that's okay. The back stitching will get done eventually, just like everything else. But yeah, this was really fun to pull out for temperature stitching. It's almost done its category, so we've only got a little bit of stitching left on her before a new piece will take its place. But really good to see this amount of progress over the time I was in Florida. The next piece that is in my temperature stitching is Under the Oaks. This is a kit from Merejka, and here is what this looks like. It's this beautiful piece with the deer. I am working in this section right here, working in the diagonal, so I'm coming down along there, along that section. But I can't wait to get further into this piece. It's so much fun. I really, really am enjoying this one. I will put a little video in here where I was when I started the week. Here's the starting point for Under the Oaks. I will be beginning up here in the diagonal right here to finish out some of this trunk of the tree, working my way through these leaves, and we'll see how far down I get. This is called for 500 stitches, so I doubt that will complete the whole diagonal, but you should see some good progress. You'll see it now. And this piece was called for the other 5 days of temperature stitching, so 500 stitches, but I managed to put in 634, putting me right at 8.0%. I was so close to 8%, I just wanted to keep going until I reached that goal, so 8.0% on this piece, which is a great start. You know, I started this in Florida, I put it in my new start category for temperature stitching, and it's amazing to see how far I've come just with temperature stitching, basically, and pulling it out occasionally after that. But here is where it's at now. And what did I work on this week? Well, basically, I think I was at the very top here, ready for the next diagonal. So I pulled this down through. I got a little bit more of the tree trunk in up here and this branch, and then worked my way all the way down through these confetti heavy color change leaves and made it all the way down here to the sky, and that's kind of where I stopped. I think I made it, no, I brought the sky down here as far as I could go, and then I think I stopped right here at these greens. So I need to finish kind of off that little bit of the diagonal right there, and then that whole diagonal will be complete. Now, what's fun about this one is you can see a little bit more that deer's antler right here. That's where the antler comes into play, and we're starting to see some of the second antler come in right here, which is exciting, and that means we're getting very, very close to a deer. And I think I looked, I've got maybe 2 or 3 more diagonals before we hit the first part of the deer's body, which will be very exciting. So we're making our way through it and just continuing to make progress. But these diagonals are getting longer and longer as they go because, you know, we're getting further along in the piece. And it's just really fun because it definitely gives me, by stitching in this method, it gives me a variety of what I'm stitching. So, you know, up here, this was confetti because of the dark colors of the tree trunk, but there's some leaves in there too. Then this was a different style of confetti with some leaves, but also background half stitches in there. Then we got into the antler, which was just an exciting part to stitch. And then we got into the sky, which was a bunch of easy half crosses. And then back to the grass, which is full cross, but also kind of, you know, background stitching. And so I think that variety really works for me because I'm not working in one area too long. It just kind of rotates down through as I work through the diagonal. And I think that's really why I'm loving it. So yeah, this piece is definitely fun. I'm so glad it's in 2 temperature stitching categories now to get it even more progress and keep it going. This is stitched with all of the called for kit materials. I'm using a 16 count Aida and all the kit floss. So one more time, that is Under the Oaks from Merejka. And we are getting very far in our first oak tree. The next piece I pulled out was Saga. This is from Long Dog Samplers. Here is what this piece is going to look like. It's this beautiful piece of all these arches with beautiful scenes and stories inside of them. And you've seen it many times, so you know what it's going to look like. But I will put a video in here where I started for the week. All right, here's the starting point for Saga. I'm first going to connect the bottom just to make sure everything lined up. And then I guess I'll jump into the center and find a motif to start stitching. I'm doing a little bit of stitching out here on my little patio here in New York, so you'll get a little glimpse what it looks like. It's a nice day, and Winston and I are going to do some stitching. And this week I didn't do really a lot of extra stitching at all on this. I added 554 stitches, so it got me just over where I needed to be for the weekly amounts, but that puts me at 62.21% on Saga. So here is the full piece right now. This is stitched on a 36 count vintage country mocha. I'm using Silks for You PR207, and I'm using 1 strand of silk over 2 linen threads. I absolutely love this silk. I love working with it. I love how it looks on 36 count. It's just incredible. So very happy with that. Let's zoom in a little bit and show what I worked on this time. That was this arch right here. And you'll see that I brought the bottom all the way across here, so to make sure that matched up and everything lined up, which it did, and I'm super happy with. And then I started getting up here into these motifs. So we've got this cute little caged bird, and then we've got a bird outside of the cage kind of offering a branch, it looks like. And we've got a little bit of a design starting over here of something, and this wonderful motif kind of in the top center there that the bird cage is hanging from. So that will be probably explained all in the next story, which will come in the next probably like couple of weeks. There's still a lot of stitching to go in this arch, but I will read the story. There is one this time, I promise. I looked ahead of time, and it should be a good one. So yeah, that's my progress on the next arch of Saga. I'm on the 4th row of arches, as you can see, and there is a 5th row. So the 5th row will have to go down here at the bottom. This fabric is rolled up, so I'm pretty sure everything will fit on the 5th row, but yeah, this is where I'm at. So we are in the middle arch of the 4th row right now. We've got another large one on this side, and then we'll have another half, kind of like we had over here. So that is Saga for the week, another 554 stitches. All right, next up, my whip is my new start from last week, which I was so excited to hear how many of you were excited about this pattern. It was one that I really loved, but you never know when you start a new pattern if your viewers or if you guys are all going to enjoy it as well. And I was happy to hear that so many of you liked the colors, liked the piece in general, and we're excited to kind of see it continue to work on. I'm talking about Stained Glass Orca. This is from Pixels Junkie Studio on Etsy. I will try to put a link down below for you to go check out this pattern or the shop in general to check out what all the patterns they have. They have a lot of great ones. This is just the one that I fell in love with and chose and wanted to start. So as you know, it was my WhipGo goal to have a new start, and so that qualified for that. And then I had 500 more stitches to put into it, and so that's what I was trying to complete this week. I needed 150 stitches to complete that goal, and I'm happy to say that I was actually able to add in 451 stitches, which puts me at 2.47% on this piece. I'll put a little, I think I have a picture or a video or something of where I was when I started this week, so you'll see that now.
All right, here's my starting point for stained glass Orca. I'm not sure how many stitches I will get in, but maybe I'll try to finish at least this diagonal out. You'll see how far I get now.
And again, 450 stitches got me to this point right here. So basically what I did is I worked down the next diagonal and brought it all the way down. There's just a little bit left here on this section. You can kind of see where I stopped right there, that I'll need to bring down into the final black border here. But this is what it's looking like. Basically, I was in this section right here, which is starting kind of the next little mosaics here of the stained glass. And some of these are darker colors, so it's a little harder to see what we're working with there, but got into this new mosaic piece here. And yeah, really, really fun. I still am loving these colors. I love the detail in it, how it's looking. This is stitched on a 22 count hard hanger, and I'm using all the called for DMC, stitching one strand over one on this 22 count hard hanger. Really enjoying that. And yeah, really enjoying the diagonal method and the parking. Just, it was a fun piece. So yeah, excited. We've got a few more diagonals to go before we're out of this sort of corner motif here, that before we get into the main section. So I think the corner has a little bit more confetti than other sections, just because there's more color changes, there's more things happening in the corner right there. But as we get further down, there are some sections of nice block stitching. And I will say that even though this is a full coverage piece, because you have the black sort of border going around all of these different tiles or mosaics of the stained glass piece, they offer a lot of block stitching. So you get to one of those sections where the border is, and it just goes faster because you're working with one color, and that makes it even more exciting. So you're kind of switching between a little bit of block stitching, a little bit of color changing, and it's just been really fun. I love those blues, and I will definitely continue working on this for the summer. There is a sale happening this summer called Stained Glass Summer, I believe it is. And I think it's Laura, Stitching by the Shore, who started this. Laura, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was Laura who started that hashtag, and I'm excited to see all the stained glass pieces this summer. I'm definitely going to keep pulling this out throughout the summer, and excited about that. So this is Stained Glass Orca, and here is my progress. So that was what my WIPGO goal for squares 13 and 14, and once I completed that, I had one WIPGO goal left for the month of April because we had 3 numbers, and that was number 6. Number 6 for me pushed me back to a different WIP that I haven't worked on in a while, and that is Beyonce at the Grammys from Tilton Crafts. So here is what Beyonce at the Grammys from Tilton Crafts is going to look like. I'm in the very center of the piece, right at her hand there in the center, and kind of working my way out to the edges. I am stitching this on a black fabric, and my original goal was to not stitch the full piece, like the background, because it's kind of on black. The more I look at it, the more I realize there are some shades of blue and black in there, so I'm not exactly sure how far out I'm gonna go, but I'm gonna start with just like the gold image of her and kind of work my way out and see what I need to add. Anyway, this is a piece I have not worked on yet this year because I've been in Florida, but even last year I think I only worked on it one time. So definitely overdue for some love, and I will put a video in here of where I was when I started the week.
Okay, this is my starting point for Beyonce. I'm going to be trying to get in my 500 stitches for WIPGO, and I have no idea where I'll work. So stay tuned, you'll see it now.
And my WIPGO goal was to add 500 stitches, and I got just over that at 510 stitches. That puts me at 4.04% on this piece. Now that includes all of the background stitching, so if I decide to do everything, I'm at 4%, which is not too far, but there's still a lot to go. I also don't know how much you're going to be able to see here of what I worked on, just because of the method that I'm stitching in, but I focused mostly on this section over here and kind of completing some of the confetti stitches that were in her hand. So her hand is fully done now. I think before there were some missing stitches in there, and kind of brought those colors wherever they would go in this section. With this piece, I am working cross country. I'm basically picking a color that's somewhere in here and taking it as far as it will go. So I'm going to show you my back just so you can kind of see what that looks like. But you'll see I'm carrying kind of pretty far to stitch whatever I can until my thread runs out of that color. Now, as you know, I've been used to stitching the diagonal method with my full coverage pieces and have really, really been enjoying that. So I was nervous coming back to this one because I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to enjoy going back to cross country, and I don't know how to turn this into a diagonal right now because I started in the middle of the piece, so that makes it a little bit more difficult. But I really did enjoy stitching this, and I think it almost was like freeing to just take one color and just work on it as far as it could go. And definitely made the stitching go faster because you're not changing threads or changing colors all the time. So it kind of worked, and it was a nice little break from my normal full coverage way of stitching. But I think it's looking really good so far. Her hand, I think, looks great. When you pull it back a little bit, you can really see the detail in her dress here right in through this section, which I'm a big fan of. So I am really liking how this is coming together, and it definitely has me excited to kind of keep working on this and pull it back out again. So I'm happy that Mania is coming for the reason that I'll get to touch a lot of my projects again. I think that's going to make me want to work on everything all at once again, which I really haven't done since I got back to New York. This is the only project I've worked on that other than stained glass Orca, that I did not have in Florida. And I think it's just, I've been so enjoying the projects that I had in Florida that I just kind of wanted to keep them going. But now that I pulled this out and worked on it, it's like, yeah, I do want to give this more love. I do want to continue to see progress on this piece, even though I've neglected it for a while. And so Mania will be fun to kind of rotate through some old whips. I'll talk about Mania more in plans of what I'm going to do, but definitely makes me want to have a rotation that kind of gets me moving on different things. So that is Beyonce at the Grammys. And those are the projects that I worked on this week. So I hope you enjoyed seeing those updates and what I've been up to. It was a lot of fun to work on those pieces. Since there were a lot of full coverage and a lot of just more meticulous type of stitching, I didn't get as many stitches in this week as I would have hoped, but I also was kitting up my other full coverage that I would like to start soon. It's going to be a mystery stitch for you to kind of guess along with what I'm stitching as I stitch it. And I did a little video kitting that up, just showing how I am kitting the floss up, what things I'm using to do that, and just kind of chatting with you all. It was a very different style video that I've ever done before. And to be honest, I wasn't even sure if I was going to post it or if I was even going to, if anybody was going to be interested in watching it. And I just want to say thank you for taking a look at that video and your kind comments. To me, it was really fun. It just felt like I was getting to chat with you and have a little conversation about stitchy things, which is always fun. But I wasn't sure how it would come across for you, so I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I will try to do more of those videos that kind of offer just a little slice of life of what I'm up to and what I'm stitching, and bringing you along for the ride. That's the whole point of this Flosstube here, is to take you along on this journey, not only of cross stitch, but of my running and walking and just life in general. So the more I can kind of bring you along, the more I'm excited to do that. So I'm glad you enjoyed that. But that did take up time to record that extra video and the actual time of kitting it up. So I have fully finished putting all the flosses that I have on those floss cards. That is done. And I placed the order with 1, 2, 3 stitch to get my final DMC colors that I needed. So that just got notification yesterday that it has shipped. So once those final threads get here, I will kit those up, put those on the floss cards, and basically I will be ready to go. I also did get out my fabric again just to measure it, just to take a look at it, and I will have plenty of space on there. It should fit perfectly. It's going to be a big piece. I will try to take a picture of me holding the fabric when I get ready to start this piece so you can see just how gigantic it is. But it'll be a fun journey, you know, we'll go along on this together. I also was really excited by the number of you who said you were going to pick a full coverage project or a big project or just any project you're working on and use that time when I'm sharing my progress on that piece to stitch along and see how far you can get on your piece. And I think that's really awesome. We will have a a lot of progress over the years, and it won't be a quick thing, but that's okay. We're going to enjoy the process and just keep working through it. So that all took time too, and that's kind of why stitching was a little bit lighter this week than maybe normal, and that's okay. Let's jump into plans real quick. So I am going to continue temperature stitching for one more week. Now, when May hits, because I'm going to do Mania 500, I'm going to stop temperature stitching just for the month of May. I will pick it back up in June, and we'll continue going with whatever projects are in those categories. But for the month of May, I'm going to stop it. That way I can focus on really just getting through as many whips as I can in the month. And so I'll talk about Mania in a second. But temperature stitching I will continue for this week. And I just realized I did not fill out my chart yet. So I'm going to go do that, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I just filled out my temperature stitching chart for the week. I will put a picture of that down below. And it's kind of the same as last week. So 5 days were called for Under the Oaks, with 4 days being called for the New Start category, 1 for the Witch Whip category. And then the other 2 days went to Woodland Enchantress. And that's exciting because that will finish that category. So eventually I will need to pick a new whip. That category is my choice. So I'll get to pick a new project that I want to rotate into that category. And I think I might wait till after May to pick that, because that will give me a chance to kind of go through all of my whips and see what do I really want to be working on in temperature stitching. So that timing is kind of perfect as well. But that'll be fun. So I'll work on those temperature stitching goals for this week. Saga, of course, will come back out, and I will keep stitching on that another week. And WhipGo is completed for the month of April. We don't have our calls yet for May. We should get those in a couple of days. And so I'm kind of free beyond for my WhipGo goals for the month, which is very exciting. It's always great to have those completed and done, and I look forward to what will be called in May. That'll be fun. The only other goal I have for this week is I would like to pull out my Halloween Quaker. That is from Leela's Studio, and I do want to do that in conjunction with Jason from Jason X Stitches. He is doing a halfway to Halloween sale, which started I think a couple of days ago, last week one day, and he's running it from kind of the middle of April to the middle of May, so you can join in anytime and pull out your Halloween pieces. And that's a fun piece I haven't worked on in a while, so I thought it'd be great to kind of pull that out and put some stitches in. So that will at least get some love this week. And what else will happen? I'm not sure. Maybe I'll continue working on stained glass. Maybe I will have a new start. We'll see. I'm not sure, but it's kind of nice to have my goals a little bit freer this week at the end of the month, and we'll see what happens. So stay tuned. I did also receive some stitchy kindness this week from Bernadette. Bernadette reached out and said she has a shop on Etsy that she is selling some cross-stitch patterns, and she was wondering if I would be interested in receiving one of those patterns. So I took a look at her shop, which is called Stitch Happens Malta, and she's got some really lovely patterns there, kind of a wide variety of different things, and a smaller selection, so it's easy to kind of sift through and see what she's got. But the pattern I chose to receive was called Patchwork Cuddle Bear, and there's something about stitching bears, I think because my mom and my aunt did it so often, that I really love that. I have a couple kits of bears that I haven't started that I want to stitch. I've got a pattern from Teresa Kogut that is a bear that I love and want to stitch. I just haven't started any of them yet, but this is another very cute bear, and I love the patchwork design that kind of came with it and the colors in there. So that's the one I picked, and she was gracious enough to send that to me. But definitely go check out her Etsy shop. I'll have this pattern linked below, and you can check out the rest of her shop too if there's anything interested, if you're interested in seeing there to support her. And lastly, just wanted to give a little bit of a life update. So as far as running goes, I've still been keeping up with my training program. I'll be running the half marathon in Brooklyn on May 16th, which is very, very exciting. It's coming up so quickly. I can hardly believe we're only basically a week away from May. And I had a 10-mile run this past weekend. I did that on Saturday, and it was just a lovely day. It was a cooler morning. I ran to Central Park, did a loop of the park. It was fun to be around so many people, and just that running energy that is in the park when you're running with so many other people. It was really just a great run, and I felt really good the entire time. So that made me feel really good about the race coming up and where I am with that. Like I said, today I ran 5 miles, and that was in the bitter cold, 35 degrees. Felt really, really chilly, and it was kind of windy too, so yeah, that just added to the coldness. But I think we're only having this weather for a couple of days. and then we're supposed to get back up into the 60s or 70s, so more spring-like weather. But it's been a roller coaster already since I've been back in New York. We've had days where it's mid 80s, almost 90, and humid, and then today we're back down to 35 degrees and chilly. So that's been interesting. The walking videos with Andrew and Stride have been really fun, and I'm really excited to share some upcoming things with you as well. I did a walk through Times Square at 5 p.m. on a Saturday, and it is so busy in Times Square on a Saturday evening. If you want to see what that's like without actually having to walk through the crowds of people, this video will be perfect for you. It is amazing to see all the different things we see in just an hour-long video through Times Square. But I hope you enjoy that. So that will be coming. I also filmed a video of me walking through the High Line, which is an elevated park path here in New York that is over an old railroad track. And it's really fun because you're kind of a little bit higher up. You're walking between the buildings, but you're also on this beautiful kind of green park with lots of plants and trees and everything along it. And it's really fun. I wasn't sure how many people would be out when I filmed this because it was a little chilly, but surprisingly, there were still a lot of people. So that was fun to see. So you'll have those coming as well. And I think tomorrow I'm going to be going to the Brooklyn Botanical Gardens and doing a film there through the cherry blossoms. They're in full bloom right now. I'm hoping that today's cold doesn't kill them off before I get there, but they should be in full bloom, and I think that'll be a really pretty walk. I haven't been to the Botanical Gardens in Brooklyn in a number of years, and so I'm excited to kind of get back to it. I used to live not far from there, and so it kind of feels like my old stomping ground as well. So I'm excited to kind of spend the day there tomorrow and film that walk for you guys. So there should be more coming here in the next couple of weeks. And as far as other life updates go, I'm still applying for jobs like crazy, still looking for what's next, and just kind of taking things one day at a time to see what's going to happen. But I know there's something great out there for me, and all of your positivity has helped me so much. I feel like I am in a much better place than I was a couple of weeks ago. I'm learning to just trust the process, trust the plan that's out there for me, and that what is supposed to happen will not pass me by. You know, what is meant for me will not pass me by. It will happen. And I can kind of have some trust and faith in that and just believe that it's going to work out. And I think that mindset is really powerful and really helpful. I'm not a professional at doing that yet, but I am getting there. And just trying again to focus on the little moments of joy that I can have throughout the day. And a big part of that joy for me has been this channel. Through the past 2.5 years, I really have discovered that I do really enjoy creating these videos for you. And it allows me to be creative. It allows me to share in a hobby that I really enjoy and feel very passionate about, and connect with you on a level that I probably would have never met all these stitchers had I not started this channel. And so having this channel at a time when I'm unemployed and looking for a job, it's been really great because I have been able to focus on doing something positive and making more videos and kind of putting my energy into that, as opposed to just putting my energy into thinking I'm not good enough, I don't have a job, and just kind of getting sucked into the negative. So I just want to say thank you again for being here. I want to say thank you for allowing me a space that I can talk openly about what I'm going through, and just for the support that you've offered through it all. And I'm going to keep making these videos. I hope no matter what my job is in the future that I will still have time to, make these videos for you weekly and just come to you and share this beautiful hobby, because what we have here is something very special, and I do not take that for granted for a moment. And I want to just say thank you for that. So we'll see, still applying, still looking for jobs, still not a lot of responses, but one day at a time. And real quick before I go, I wanted to say best wishes to my Patreon member, my Linda. She is going to be entering and walking and running her first marathon this coming weekend, and I'm so excited for her. I know you can do it. I know you're going to be great, and I'm just really excited that you're going on this walking journey as well, and I'm so proud of you. So best of luck this weekend. You're going to do great, and I can't wait to hear about the race. But I think that's all I've got for you this week. So thank you so much for being here again, and keep running if you're a runner. Always keep stitching, and be kind to whoever you meet on your journey. Bye for now. Until the next stitch.